can't just come home.
Oh, sure, girl can come home anytime. I'm glad when you come home, but you ain't come home in a heck of a long time.
Cop for Dad. Can't get nothing past you, huh?
You still try. Come on, out with it. I mean, just tear the Band-Aid off.
Dad, I'm getting shipped out.
How's it going, Real Dealers? It is your man, Phil Paul, and welcome back to another episode of the Real Deal Bros podcast. And oh my goodness, I know a lot of people are probably mad at me because I've been off for about a month, but yes, the Real Deal Bros podcast has been taking a 1 month hiatus, but we are back and rolling. But just to give everybody an update of what I've been up to, I've actually been here in Charlotte, North Carolina, doing an internship with a NASCAR team. And yeah, just been busy with the internship, as you could probably tell with the duration of the podcast. But I am back, and Terrell will be back pretty soon with us. But just to get that out of the way, I'm actually glad they have a very, very special guest join me on the Real Deal Bros this afternoon or this morning. And she is actually an actress. She's been in a few independent movies. She also does songwriting. She's also a stunt woman and just an amazing person. And I would like to welcome to the Real Deal Bros podcast, Abbi Butler.
Hi. Hello.
How's it going, Abbi? So
it's great.
Yeah. So yeah, Abbi, I think we could kind of tell people the story of how we actually met.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess to start off. So during my it was my second Sunday here in Charlotte. Me and my host mom went to a restaurant for brunch, and I don't know what the occasion was, but the restaurant was packed. Like you could not find an open seat. But fortunately enough, me and my host mom Michelle found a seat at the bar, and Abbi actually came and sat right next to us. I think how we started the conversation off was that you actually offered us one of your French toast bites, if I recall.
It was over French toast bites. It all started
Yeah, so a beautiful relationship started off over French toast bites, is what we could say. But as we got to know Abbi, of course, we started a conversation, and we found that Abbi was an actress, and I was like, oh my gosh, I sat next to an actress at a restaurant, like on my first week in Charlotte, or second weekend in Charlotte. But no, like Abbi is an amazing person, like amazing actress, very talented, as well as a songwriter too. But I'm just glad to have you on the podcast. I know it's been like a long time coming. But I guess to start out, we could just kind of let everybody know your upbringing and just your backstory.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I know it's been a minute since we've tried to organize everything, but I'm really excited to be here. So thanks. So I am the oldest of 4 kids. I grew up mainly in Atlanta, but moved around a lot. My dad was a professional baseball player for 17 years. So the majority of my childhood, all of my childhood. And so we moved around a lot. We saw a lot of different cities and experienced a lot of different places and people and all the things. So lots of imagination in our house, lots of movie time, television. All of that was like a really big part of my childhood, movies and television. We had like every Friday night was like family movie night. And so I think everything kind of, as far as an actor goes, like it all kind of started there.
Nice. Actually, I've been wanting to wonder because, as people may know, I did play baseball growing up. So what was it like having your dad as a professional baseball player? Because I think from what I remember, your dad, Brett Butler, he played for the Braves, the Dodgers, the Giants, and I think also the Mets.
Yeah, and the Indians, Cleveland.
And the Cleveland Indians. So what was that like having, knowing that your dad was a Major League Baseball player and, he was traveling a lot, and I don't know, maybe, he kind of just lived like the MLB superstar lifestyle. What was that like from this perspective of you being his daughter?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think on one side of it, I think it's all I knew and all I've known. So in some weird sense, it felt really normal to me.
Mm.
But on the other side of it, I think that it was, I mean, it felt like an adventure. It felt like we were like our own like traveling band, and we were like always like living in hotel rooms and like, like I said, just visiting lots of different places and people and things like that. And lots of baseball games, obviously, in my life. But I love the sport. I love the game. I love the hard work and camaraderie that kind of lives within professional sports. And so to watch my dad go and do that every day, I think really inspired me to look at my own talents, my own passions and things like that, and say, okay, well, how can I step into the world with my imprint? Like, what does that look like for me? And my dad is just an extremely, obviously an incredible baseball player, but just an incredible man, just an incredible inspiration. Has always been in my life and continues to be, for sure. And yeah, he was always like, just go for it, go for your dreams, work hard, go after it. So I think that's where it all kind of was like, okay, I'm built to do hard and scary and intimidating big things. So yeah, I think it helps when you have someone in your life, whether that's a parent or a mentor or someone just in your life who can kind of walk that walk, not just talk it, but like really walk it. And you can see kind of the fruit of it. And that really all things really are possible.
Like, would you say that your father's work ethic kind of rubbed off on you, and just what you do in the entertainment industry?
Oh gosh, for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think anything worth having is worth fighting for, working for. I did not grow up in a household where we were everything was chores and working hard and getting a summer job and doing all of those things. And so that's a testament, I would say it's a testament and a shout out to my mom, who we call Mama B. She is probably the hardest working person that I know on the planet. So a combination of my dad and mom's work ethic, for sure. Yeah, definitely set me up, I think, for success in, years and years of hard work ahead. So
Nice. Now, I kind of want to get more into your acting career, just really how it all started. So was it like you were in a school play and you thought like, oh, I could do this, or was it maybe like a school concert? Like, oh yeah, I could sing too. Like when did it all start?
Yeah. So I remember when I was in elementary school. Now remember, I'm the oldest of 4 kids. So my mom had 4 kids under the age of 5, like 5 and under. And so we were all each other's like playmates, and we were always like putting on plays and things like that. So it started really in the home. And then in elementary school, yeah, I saw a production of Peter Pan at the Fox Theater in Atlanta. I think I was like in 2nd grade or something like that. And I just remember seeing kids on stage. And I remember thinking, oh, I could do that. Like, that looks like so much fun. And, I went home and was like, Mom, I think I want to be an actor. I think I want to be a singer. And my mom was like, okay. And so, we jumped into lessons, both singing and acting, and it kind of all started there.
Did you feel like there were any challenges coming up? Like, oh, like were there people saying like, oh, maybe you can't do that, or oh, like maybe you're not fit for that role? Like how often did you get that growing up?
Well, so I was not a, child actor by any sense. I just did, school plays and things like that. And because we moved around so much, it was really hard to be really committed to a career, right, of like young acting. But yeah, I think all of that kind of started in, high school when I started to take things pretty seriously, you know, wanting to really pursue singing and acting. And then decided, you know, I think I want to go to college and study acting. And, you know, I mean, that's kind of where everything really jump started for like the future. It was like, okay, I'm going to go get my education. I'm going to study acting, and then I'm going to move to New York or LA. At that point, I didn't know. And it just happened to be LA, because obviously we had spent, you know, a good chunk of my life there. So it felt like home.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, say, go back to when you got your first like major role. Like, what steps did you take for that?
Well, it's funny because people ask me this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was such a different time. You know, now social media has changed everything. I mean, everything, the format of the business, how you can just DM a director and be like, hey, I think I'm great for this role, which is amazing. But my first film role that I ever had, it was the first audition I ever had. I was in Birmingham, Alabama. And this is terrible. This is going to date me, but I saw an ad in a newspaper, and I was like, I think I should audition for this. And then, you know, the rest is history. So I just kind of like went in. I didn't have an agent. I didn't have anything. I was fresh off, you know, graduating from Samford University, which is where I studied acting.
Okay, nice.
And yeah, and so it kind of started there. I remember thinking, okay, I'm moving to LA, so I need to have something on my resume. And so I was like, I got to go find it. So I found it in this newspaper, and I was like, okay, great, I'm going for it. And I booked it.
But like, you like go more in depth on what that role was, because it's actually the first time I've heard something like that. I never would imagine that people would be doing casting calls from the newspaper. But I guess, I don't know, I guess in Birmingham, Alabama is different with
I think
casting calls are. Yeah.
I think so, but I'm not gonna, you know, knock it. I mean, it's definitely how everything kickstarted for me. So, yeah, I mean, it was just an independent film. It was about, you know, I got to play kind of this villainous, like, girlfriend character, which, you know, was fun. And it was really, you know, it was a small budget film, but it was the first time I had literally ever been in front of a camera. You know, I mean, I had some, you know, obviously in acting class and stuff like that, but so I was just kind of like a fake it till you make it. It's like, oh yeah, like I totally know what left of camera or right of camera is. Like I had no idea. So yeah, but it was a fun role. It was a fun first kind of initiation into everything. It was easy, and, you know, it was easy and fun. And then, you know, jumped off to LA and said, all right, I got to get an agent. And so started cold calling.
Did you think that first role or what role do you think was like the jump off for your career?
You know, I think less of, it was maybe less of the role and more of the film for me. I had like the blessing of working at Sony Productions as a production assistant. So for all those kids out there who really want to just like get the whole gamut of like filmmaking, I would say jump into production. It will teach you so much about yourself and work ethic. And it will humble you like nothing else on the planet. But yeah, so I started as production assistant. Long story short, ended up getting a line in the movie The Benchwarmers, which is Adam Sandler's one of Adam Sandler's films.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, and my scene was actually cut, which is so funny. So it's like you see me like in this like one tiny scene where I'm like don't even have a line. But that really was the kind of a big break for me in the sense of it opened up all the doors. It was the thing that kind of, you know, got me into the actors union. It was the thing that, just opened other doors, like, oh, you worked with Dennis Dugan, who is the director of Benchwarmers. Oh, you worked on the Adam Sandler film, and everything kind of snowballed from there. So it's amazing. It's like any other job. I think you do one project, and the film industry is very, very small. I mean, so you kind of it opens up other opportunities.
I was wondering that because I remember, like the night after we met, I looked you up and I saw like, oh wow, you were in the Benchwarmers? I didn't, because I probably would not notice it, but yeah, because I was either thinking, oh, she was either the salad girl or a Pizza Hut employee. Maybe I just, I feel like I think you were just an extra, or was it just like one of those roles where, like you said, you didn't have a line in like one of the scenes at the Pizza Hut, but yeah, but just knowing that you were in it, I was like, oh wow, maybe I just never noticed that, but now I know. But well, from what I remember when we talked at brunch, it was like you're actually starting to make a comeback to acting. Like you were in Charlotte for a bit, doing the sequel for County Line, which for those that don't know what County Line is actually a film that you can find on Amazon Prime, and the Abbi plays the role of the sheriff's daughter in the movie. So like, how has the comeback of your acting career, how has it been so far?
It has been it's been awesome. I mean, I was an actor for 12 years. And I think I just hit a point where I was like, I think I need a little break. My heart and my head needed a little bit of a break. And that feels like a scary thing to do when you've established yourself, and my agent was like, oh, okay. Like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. I think sometimes you have to take a break. You have to kind of step outside so you can get refreshed in your life so you can be better for your art, And so I stepped away for 2 years. And then obviously, the pandemic happened.
Right.
And I think it gave me a lot of good time to think like, oh gosh, I think I really do miss storytelling. I think I miss the camaraderie. I miss the, just everything that making a movie brings.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I can take zero credit for running after, being a part of County Line, the second one. I mean, they approached me, Brent Christie, who is the director I'd worked with previously on a couple of projects. And he just gave me a call and said, hey, we're doing a second one and we can't do it without you. We would love to have you. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what a gift, I didn't even run after that. You know what I mean? So I really do, with a very grateful spirit, was like, okay, I will take it. And it was everything that I had hoped it would be, being back.
So what was it like being back on the set? Well, even though like it was a cast that you already worked with in the past, just being back, like, knowing that you had a 2-year break from acting, was it like you had the muscle memory to get back and act in the acting swing, or did you kind of like relearn everything that you already knew about acting?
Yeah, that's a good question. My sister, Stephanie Butler, who is also an actress, she, I called her and was like, I don't know if I remember how to do this. Like, hopefully I don't make a fool of myself when I get on set, kind of a thing, because it is a craft. I mean, for sure it is a certain skill set, but when I got on there, when I got back to set, I remember beforehand, I was like, okay, Lord, please let me just chill out. I have nothing to prove. I have nothing. Like, what if I just went into it just with a really grateful spirit, just so grateful to be here, and trust the instincts and trust years and years of hard work and experience that it'll come back. And it did. So I was like, okay, thanks. So it felt good. It felt really good to be back. And it felt like riding a bike. It really did. So.
Okay, awesome. I actually also want to go into your role as a stunt woman as well, because I remember you mentioned that to me and Michelle at the restaurant, and like what like did you have to perform like any stunts in County Line or any other movie that you've been in?
Yeah. Okay. So just to be very clear, I am not a professional stunt woman. In my heart, I am, but not out in the acting world. But I am an actor who really enjoys doing her own stunts. So if given the opportunity, I mean, put a harness on me and like, let's do the thing. It's so fun. So yeah, I was in the very first film, I was able to do some gunslinging and, fight scenes and things like that. And then in this one, yeah, I got to do some fun stunts that will remain secret, I guess, until you see it. But I did get to do some, and oh man, it was so great.
But
yeah, so the opportunity.
As of right now, like you can't reveal anything about County Line 2. You can't give us like a sneak peek or what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you've seen the first one, I think it's going to be everything that people want it to be. For the second, which is it's gunslinging, it's solving problems, it's a father-daughter relationship, which I have with Tom Wopat, who plays my father, right? Tom Wopat being like from the original Dukes of Hazzard, which is crazy.
Awesome.
So fun, right?
And so I guess to kind of give everybody a little bit of a backstory about County Line. So I think, and Abby, I think you can help me out with this too. So County Line is like your modern Western crime film, like tells the story of a sheriff in the town and, having to fight against, a crime group and, chase after criminals. Yeah, but I guess you can kind of help me out with that and just kind of give people a summary of what the first County Line was like, but not too much because there might be some real dealers that might want to watch it before they watch the second one. But yeah, just kind of give a little synopsis of what the first film was like.
Yeah, I mean, really, the first film was about two sheriffs from different sides of the county, right? Hence County Line, one side of the county, the other side of the county. They're friends. And so it's kind of like they come together to solve kind of a mystery and a crime that is happening in town. And so that really is the first. You throw in a little romance, you throw in, like I said, a father-daughter relationship where my character Ember comes in and gets the opportunity to assist her dad kind of in all of that. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of gunslinging and a lot of fighting. Yeah. But it's just good, clean fun. I think that I did films, lots of independent films and lots of really tough films for years and years, tough stories. And those stories definitely need to be told. But this is family friendly. It's an easy watch. It's entertaining and it gives you all the feels. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Abby, I also found out that you also do songwriting for a few other country artists and as well as a few other artists. And I think Michelle could kind of relate to that as well. When we had brunch, you mentioned that you did some songwriting and also do some singing on your own. I mean, I'll make sure to leave Abby's Instagram account in the description so you guys can go follow her and watch her sing on her Instagram. But where do you find inspiration for songwriting, and also like what singers have you done songwriting for?
Yeah, so I wanted to be a singer songwriter long before I ever wanted to be an actor. I mean, so when I was like really, really little, and then they all kind of, just went together throughout the years. But when I moved to Nashville, which is 9 years ago now from Los Angeles, yeah, Music City, man. I was fortunate enough to get a gig working at the Bluebird Cafe here in town. And I think it just like tore open my songwriter's heart. I mean, there is something about it is such a magical place to be. Just the greatest songwriters in the entire world come through there. And so you can't help but be inspired by it. So anyway, so I kind of started back singing, taught myself how to play guitar on YouTube.
It's like I guess this is kind of like a typical answer for somebody that learned how to play an instrument during COVID. I'm like, oh, I went to YouTube. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, what a great resource. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to up my game. I didn't want to just be a lyricist. I wanted to be a songwriter.
Right.
So, and I also played piano by ear. And so, there's a lot of that. But anyway, so yeah, started songwriting about 9 years ago here, and haven't had anything, picked up or sold, to an artist or a label or anything like that yet. So I'm still very much like getting my feet wet in all of that. So, have performed around town and, played and, all of that. But I think I was so focused on the acting for so long. It takes a lot of energy to do both of those careers. And so this feels like a fun opportunity to kind of maybe step a little bit more into that and get that music out there.
Have you ever thought about maybe possibly doing maybe some musicals or anything like that?
Oh my gosh, people ask me this all the time. I think I would love to do a musical. I just haven't done one for so long. But yeah, it's definitely something to consider. I mean, the whole reason I love songwriting, the whole reason why I love being an actor, I'm also a painter and all of these things, whatever expression of storytelling that can be done. I mean, that's where I want to be. I think stories are really powerful. I think, so to answer your question about inspiration, about my songwriting, I mean, it really is in not only my own story, my own path, and my own experiences, but also, stepping into somebody else's shoes. Some of that is just, based on reality, and some of it's based on imagination. But there's some amazing stories to be told out there. And so if that can be done through songwriting, in 3.5 minutes, I like the challenge of that. Yeah.
Wait, so what artists have you worked with before, if you could name any?
What do you mean? What artist?
Well, like what artists have you done like songwriting with, or have you like came across when you were in Nashville, or since you've been in Nashville?
Yeah, well, man. Well, like I said, the Bluebird is such a breeding ground for like every songwriter there is. So, you have everyone from, Amy Grant and Jewel and, whatever. And my brain is totally blanking, right? Keith Urban has like been in before. I mean, things like that, to the other end of the spectrum, which is Tony Arata, right? Who's one of like the greatest writers of all time. He wrote The Dance for Garth Brooks.
Nice.
So, but no one would know that. I wouldn't have known, but yeah, so there's kind of that exposure to both ends of the spectrum. The artist who is on stage, whose face and recognize, and then all of the songwriters who are kind of writing it all. So I'm totally blanking on like all the people, because it literally is like 6 years of just like the most inspiring people.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been in the industry for 6 years, you definitely do come across a lot of people that you may have heard of and may have probably made it big by now, but I can definitely understand what that environment may feel like, because because the music industry is starting to grow. It keeps growing and growing by each year, and there's just always people that like yourself that, want to tell a story through song and just find inspiration through songwriting, performing, singing, whatever category it may be. But yeah, it's just, I just, one thing that I do love about the entertainment industry, and I guess that's just because my sister, for those that know, she was an actress, stage actress for a few years. And just knowing that the community aspect of it all, where you meet so many people and you network and you do everything that is to, either, get ahead in the industry or just stay in contact with people. I mean, it definitely is an experience in the community to be a part of, especially if you're working with the right people. And, it's the same with the sports industry. Being in the sports industry has helped me understand the importance of networking and being in contact with the right people, because you never know, that person may offer you a job one day.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I just wanted to share, with anyone who's listening, is that I've been studying acting for a long time. So whether at university or in classes, I've technically been an actor for 12 years. I've done over 20 films, but you don't know me and I'm not a famous person. And I think it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I think that, and I'm just saying that because I don't want to sit over here being like, oh, well, I'm like in the industry. I'm like I'm in it and I'm doing it and I love it. And I love being a storyteller. And if that does it for you, like, go for it. Continue to do it. Whether right, we're going to reach for the stars and we're going to hope that like we hit the big time, right? But you've got to enjoy the journey. You've got to enjoy the process, or I think we'll end up, in the end being probably pretty disappointed on some level. I say that my dad shared this story with me when his whole life, he dreamed of being a baseball player, his entire life, worked really, really hard. 1982 is his debut with the Braves. Mm-hmm. And he said he had a great game. He, was like 2 for 2 or 2 for 3, something like that. And he went back to his hotel room and he cried because he thought, I've worked my whole life for this moment. And it wasn't as, right, like epic, maybe. I mean, it was epic, but you know what I mean? It wasn't everything. Because I think we as humans, we always want more, can grow into more, there's always this like wanting. And so I think there is something really important about being really present and appreciating the process and being grateful for the opportunities that are here, that are now. Mm-hmm. And all of that other stuff will come in the timing that it should. I think that's how I feel about the songwriting. I think that I'm just dipping my toe into it, though I've been here for, a while. But I, by no means some, superstar writer or anything like that. But I love it. And so I'm just going to continue to pursue it until my heart doesn't love it anymore,
Yeah, I definitely do understand that, because I think this is one way that a lot of people should see the world nowadays. Just all comes down to how hard you work, and just waiting until the payoff happens. Because I'm glad you brought up that story of how your dad's major league debut went, because because I don't think there's really any you don't hear that side of the story. You may hear the side of the story Brett Butler went 2 for 3 in his major league debut, which is a big accomplishment. Just him, like you said, breaking down in his hotel room and just not understand, oh my God, I just got 2 hits in the major leagues, because not that many players reach that point in their career. And just knowing that he made it and understanding, your dad had a great career too. I think he had, from when I looked him up and saw he had 2,000 plus career hits, I was like, wow, he was actually really good. I mean, any player that gets over even 1,000 hits or even 2,000 is considered a great player. And just knowing that he did have that career, and he does now, because I think from what you told me and Michelle, that your father still coaches in baseball with the Miami Marlins, and he's also a motivational speaker as well.
Yeah, so he actually retired his coaching career with the Marlins. And I think it was, gosh, I mean, it was years ago. So maybe five years ago, something like that. But now he's, a motivational speaker. He still goes around and he'll do baseball clinics and things like that. Cause I think, once it's in you, I don't think it ever leaves. Yeah, for the love of the game. Exactly. But I think it's just this idea of like reinvention, like we as human beings are so multidimensional and have a lot to offer the world. And I think, I always love thinking about it like this, like you and your story are the best thing that you have to offer the world. No one can tell your story, bring the things to your art, to your sport, to your business the way that you can. And so this idea and this culture of comparing ourselves and careers and success and all of that to other people, I think it really does steal our joy, from experiencing what we have to bring, because it's apples and oranges, but equally valuable,
Yeah. So, Abby, as far as your favorite filming project to date, which one have you liked the most? Because I know you've been, like, as you said, you've been in a lot of independent films, like The Friend Zone, The Odds, The Pea Shooter, and even County Line, considered like kind of an independent film. But what project has been your favorite to date?
If all of them have obviously served a purpose, and I have learned and loved every single one of them. Truly, I have, even the hard experiences. But I feel like these County Line films are probably my most favorite. Truly, they're fun. Who doesn't want the opportunity to, like I said, work with Tom Wopat and Gary Wheeler, who's an incredible producer. He's produced a lot of films, and just like good films that I think the world needs right now. Really encouraging films. So I think those, honestly, I think the County Lines. I joked with Tom on one of our last days. I was like, Tom, they should just make a series. They do a County Line series, and we could just be fighting crime. And he was kind of like, okay, sure. So I definitely say that, joking, but just with like, I don't want it to end. It was such an amazing cast and crew, such a fun, easy story to tell, and loved it.
Good spinoff, County Line, the series. I mean, yeah, that could be a great spinoff after, doing this. That's happened with, like kind of like a cult type of film where, say like they make two movies or just make the one, then it turns into a series. Like, I don't know, have you heard of Blind Spotting?
Yes.
Yeah, they're actually working on that series right now. I think it's already out, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool that they did that. So for those that are from Oakland and like myself, I think it was really cool to have that kind of a shine that the city gets from the story in the movie. But yeah, I feel like County Line could become that like that series spinoff, and yeah, I would watch it. So
yeah. The writers are great. It's a great script for sure. So
nice. As far as like your favorite song, do you have like a favorite song that you'd like to do a cover for, or have you written a song that's like been so attached to your heart?
Oh my gosh, this is so hard. It's like choosing children, I'm sure. Cause like you, like, what's your favorite kid? I really like story songs. That's really what I write. So I do write a lot of country music, mainly country music. Have started to get into writing a little more gospel or Christian music, which will be a whole new venture for sure. But yeah, I actually wrote my first Christmas song over quarantine.
Wow.
Which I'd always wanted to do. And so I'm going to release it this year.
Oh, cool.
So you can stay tuned for it. But that, I feel like that feels right now, like on the docket. That's like a fun new thing, project that I did. But yeah, I think my dad's favorite song, I'll say that because it really is hard for me to choose. I have a lot of favorites. My dad's favorite song is called The Good Old Days. And it's a song I wrote it was one of the first songs I wrote here in Nashville.
Wow.
And I think it feels so true. The lyrics feel so true right now at this time, when it's really just talking about like, this longing for going back to the good old days, to simpler times, to real conversations, to looking people in the eye, to community, to all those kind of things. And what?
Or seeing somebody smile without a mask. Like,
yeah,
all those things. Yeah.
exactly. So though maybe lyrically it's not one of my favorite or like strongest structurally, I think the sentiment feels true, probably too, and really hits a chord, I think, with all humans, like where we're all at, probably what we're really longing for, you know?
Mm-hmm. Abby, like I also want to point out to everybody that for everybody that knows me, that I'm a Christian, and Abby, you're also a Christian as well. And how has just the upbringing of being raised in a Christian household been with you, and how do you think it still like inspires your day? And if you could also add to this, like, do you think Christianity is starting to become like obsolete to say my generation, or just maybe even your generation?
My gosh, Philip, that's like a huge question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know it's kind
Oh,
of.
I love it. No, this is what I love. You are a great question asker. I remember when we first met, I was just like, oh man, this guy's on it. So I think that lunch literally went for like 3 hours.
Oh yeah, we talked for a while. I think we actually talked until it was almost closing time.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, my spirit was like so revived. It was so nice. I was there by myself, and so it was so nice to just meet other artists and other believers. Yeah, I mean, I'll start with kind of, maybe like being a Christian in the industry, and like growing up in a Christian household. I mean, my parents, my dad was very much in the spotlight, obviously growing up, and has always been extremely vocal about his faith. My mom and dad had their own ministry, have had a couple of ministries over the years, specifically for marriage and family. And so, but aside from all the bells and whistles of that, growing up in a household where I would come down the stairs in the morning and see my parents in their Bibles, really sunk deep. And you don't realize when you're a kid how important and impactful that thing is until you're older, obviously, and are able to see the significance of it and the importance of it, that they were like, we need the Lord to accomplish and do the things that we are doing, because life is hard. It's hard. Relation.
Yeah,
say again.
Yeah, especially during these times, how, because I feel like I've started to notice that, I don't see a lot of people around my age group wanting to, follow God or even have a relationship with him, because they just, I guess I would say, like, from how I see it, the influence of God isn't as prevalent as it used to be, because, like, for my generation, like, with social media and a bunch of other stuff, where, we get influence from other places, and that those places may not be coming from a place where God has presence, or where God has influence.
Yeah. Well, I think, I don't know about you, but I'll speak for myself. I think we forget that church is full of a lot of broken people, including myself. And they're not always making the best decisions, and they're not always loving people the way that the Lord probably would. And so I think that creates a lot of baggage for people who have kind of been Christians, young, through the years. I kind of had to work through a lot of that kind of baggage myself. And I remember like being here in Nashville and being a little, like I was in one big kind of like mega church one day. And I just remember being like, this is terrible. I remember being like, oh, all these people are so fake. And I remember being like, oh, this is so terrible.
Mm.
And I remember the Lord like soften my heart the way he does in like the sweetest way when he's going to tell you some like real hard truth, that he's like, does it sweetly. He was kind of like, why are you being so judgmental? All those people have nothing to do with you, lady. They have nothing to do with you. If you want to know me, if you want to know my voice, get in here, come after me, seek me, and you will find me. And it's got to be about that. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's true. So I think for this generation of people, kids and partially, definitely myself as well, I think we have to remember that we were created by God as his like masterpiece. And like we are purposed just by being created by the Lord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have nothing to prove. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden we're going to become like worthy and valuable because of all the things that we do. It's like we already innately are, because we are sons and daughters. And I feel like I've learned in my life that life is a lot easier and more manageable. I'll say more manageable. If I go to the Lord about it.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to him the way I'm talking to you right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everyone's different, but I do think that I digress. I think that there is kind of this longing in all of us to want to experience being known and seen and unconditionally loved on the deepest level. And I think God put that in us for a reason, to run after him and experience all that he has to offer in all of that. And I think a podcast isn't going to do it for you. And a small group isn't going to do it for you. And a church isn't going to do it for you. And right, a What Would Jesus Do bracelet isn't going to do it for you. What a manifestation, like all of those things aren't going to do it. Like maybe just like get in there, get down and dirty, ask God hard questions. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I just feel like I've been really encouraged in my career, in my life, in my relationships, when I just get very real with the Lord and get in the word and try to, put on the armor every day. And it's the only way I feel like I can really manage, honestly, because life is tough. It's tough times, man.
Yeah, I completely understand. And yeah, there's been some moments, even just because like I haven't really been as open of how my year's been going with, some people that I may know. But no, there was moments where I had to talk to God and be like, God, like, why is my year going like this? Or, what can I do to just make it through the year without, not trying to focus on all the bad that's going on in my life, but just worry about what's going on, like, or the good that's going on in my life. Like my internship, for example, it's been an experience of a lifetime, but I think God put me here in Charlotte, North Carolina for a reason. And that reason was to just understand what he has in store for me in the future, and just going out there and being creative and following my passion. Like NASCAR has been my passion, sports has been my passion, and just going down and living in it and giving all the glory to God for it. It's been kind of like the silver lining of like the tough year that I've had so far. And even at 20 years old, because I get to I'll be honest, like 20 sucks. Because like there are certain things that you probably can't do like at 20 that you probably can do at 21. But even like, but I can get past like all the other like stuff that I can do when I do turn 21. But just being 20 has really kind of been like a challenge and like an awakening for me. But with God, it has helped me get through the tough times that I've had to endure so far this year.
Mm.
But yeah, like I'm glad you were able to talk about that, Abby. And I think, you know, a lot of people that do follow my podcast and like all the real dealers that do come across this video, they'll, you know, like they'll understand why it's important, because that's the one thing that I hope for my generation is that I in some way, you know, I could pass on the like the word of God to others, and hopefully, you know, it could inspire them, or you know, have you know, other people, young people, try to build that relationship in a time where it is needed the most.
Totally. And I think I'll just say too, just lastly, like, you know, when we talk about like apples and oranges, when I had said that before, I think the same thing goes for our relationship with the Lord. My relationship is going to look very different than yours, and you know, and the next person. And God is not scared. He is not scared of us. You know, he knows us. And so I would just encourage, you know, folks to don't worry that you're going to be too much or that you're inadequate. I would say talk to the Lord just like this. Ask him hard questions, and he will blow your mind if you allow him to. He really will. And the genuine, like, giving glory to God it literally will happen, because when you experience him in like the kindness and the kind of father that he is, like, it's just real. Like, you can't deny it. And there is a peace that passes all understanding. I know people say it and it feels like a soundbite, but that's real stuff. And so I just encourage people, you know, if you're even just slightly like interested, or if you're pissed at the Lord, or if you're curious or whatever, I say, like, get in there, start talking to the air. If it feels weird, just go for it. And you know, see what happens, because I think the Lord he'll show up and maybe blow your mind.
Yeah. Well, Abby, like I want to close out with this question. So, understanding like where you are in your career, and that you've accomplished a lot, you know, through the projects that you've been in, like the movies that you've helped film and helped, you know, for acting in. Like, what advice would you give to someone that's interested in working in the entertainment industry?
I would say fear is a liar. Don't listen to it. There are no rules, though it seems like there are. No one's path is the same. So go with your gut. And, you know, set up goals for yourself. I think it's hard to accomplish something when you don't have a goal in mind, or something right on the forefront. Take it, go for it in whatever avenue, you know, and every no is a yes to something else. So that's what I'd say.
That's great advice, Abby. And to close out, so usually what I like to do when I bring on a guest for the Real Deal Bros, I like to dub them with the Real Deal Bros honoree. So by the power of Philip Hall, I dubbed the Abbi Butler an official Real Deal sister. So there you go. Congratulations. Welcome to the Real Deal sisterhood / brotherhood.
Thank you.
But with that being said, I want to thank you again, Abby, for coming on to the Real Deal Bros podcast. It's definitely been a pleasure. From us having French toast at a restaurant to us now having coming on doing an interview on my podcast. I just want to say thank you again, and I believe your message and just your platform will definitely inspire those that do come across the episode, and those that do continue to follow the podcast. So yeah, thank you again, Abby, for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the return of the Real Deal Bros podcast. And don't worry, like I am not going anywhere, folks. Like the Real Deal Bros podcast is still trucking on, and it actually will be continuing when I do go back to St. John's in the fall. And things may look a little bit more different, but the podcast is not going anywhere, so don't worry. Like more episodes will be released pretty soon. And more great guests like Abby will soon come on to the Real Deal Bros podcast. But with that being said, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I want to wish everybody a great weekend. Like enjoy the Olympics when they do come on, because they're starting next week. And yeah, just continue to like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast and show us support. And yeah, just want to say, like, tell everybody to take care, stay safe, and as always, make sure to keep it real.